Amir Yavniely, welcome back.
Excited to be here, Ólavur. Thanks for having me.
To the program, yes, and to the Faroe Islands. This is your not first time,
No.
third time, I understand.
Yeah.
And you are here because the Faroe Islands started or opened an embassy in Tel Aviv.
True.
About 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was officially inaugurated last year. And as a result of that happening, a cooperation started with Israel and the Faroe Islands, FIIIC.
Yeah.
Could you just tell me and our viewers about the process?
Yeah.
What is going on now?
So, as you said, it was thanks to opening the embassy in Israel. That's how I became familiar with Faroe Islands in general, with the people, and started to looking into some possibilities, because I've detected that there is a real need for building a business bridge between the Faroese ecosystem and the Israeli ecosystem. And in September, or in our first visit here, it was kind of a validation trip. So we met a lot of business leaders and government officials and entrepreneurs. And we actually understood that there is a real need for that. And since then, in the past 6 months, I've had meetings with Faroese entrepreneurs, business entities, almost every week.
Yeah.
And as you said, this is my third visit here. And I'm 100% sure that there is a need. I wouldn't say a need, because you will be just fine without that. But there is a real opportunity here to leverage the Israeli know-how in tech and very large talent pool to the local Faroese economical growth. And this is where FIIIC is coming in.
Yeah.
So FIIIC is Faroe Islands Israel Innovation Center. It's a 100% private business-owned entity. It is supported by government, but not financially. Just by opening doors and helping with bureaucracy. But we believe it needs to be private, because then there's real incentive for all players. Yeah.
So what is will we see something happen? Because there's been a lot of talk, a lot of meetings.
Yes.
Is there something concrete on the table?
So there are several projects that are going on that I can't reveal, but there is one big exciting project that this trip is especially about it, and this has to do with farming, actually.
Yeah.
So and I have a strong connection with the Israeli agriculture ecosystem. Yeah. Although this is not my profession, but when I was here in September, I understood that you guys import almost 100% of what you eat in terms of greens, vegetables, and fruits. Yeah. And it struck me a little bit because when you look geopolitical-wise in the international economy, things are always changing. And every country, I believe, needs to be able to be self-sufficient and to rely on itself. And I know back home that there is the tech and the know-how and all the advanced methods to grow vegetables and greens and fruits here in the Faroe Islands as well, but in an indoor facility. So what we did in the past couple of months, I formed a really strong partnership with advanced methods agriculture company in Israel. Who I really believe in them personally and in their tech and know-how. And this trip is about that, is about to find the right partnerships here and the initial funding to establish this indoor farming facility.
Yeah. So are you talking about because there is only one in the Faroe Islands with doing this indoor facilities. Yeah. Are we talking about that one?
We haven't. I have a lot of meetings with them, and we are talking, but we haven't decided yet if to cooperate or just to build two separate facilities.
Yeah.
But I believe the tech and the know-how that I bring will take this initiative a lot further. Yeah. So we will see about that.
So we're not talking about the growing potatoes or cabbage, and, because traditionally that's what's been going on here for years, but not on a commercial level.
No, we are talking about growing the top quality of green leaves, every kind of them, by the way, some vegetables, some fruits. We believe that in the long run we can cover in this big production facility almost 60% of the local consumptions.
Yeah. 60%.
Yeah, but that's in the long run. We will need to start with a proof of concept.
Yeah.
In terms of variety, we can grow mushrooms, greens, vegetables, and a lot of other specific crops, and also fodder for feed for animal.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. How do you see the possibilities of is it only for self-sufficiency? For our own consumption, or might it become an export also?
That really depends on how it goes. In my vision, some of those crops can be exported, but only the high margins ones.
Okay.
So if you look at the prices of mushrooms and berries around this part of the world, most of the Western world, the prices are really high, and we know how to grow them in a very efficient way.
Okay.
So, and you guys, you have here a very strong distribution channels already. So that might be a possibility, but that's for the long run.
What is special about, in terms of green foods?
Yeah.
What's so special about the Faroese green food? Because there are probably every other country in the world that exports or does grow their own crops.
Yeah.
Traditionally, we do not, except from potatoes, of course. But what is special about this option?
I think the most important angle is the self-sufficiency. So the local market here gets its greens and vegetables mostly from Denmark, but also from other places. And by the time it's here, it costs a little bit more. It's not as fresh as it can be. And it's, in terms of quality also, the variety of crops we grow in Israel is the top quality in the world. So it will take us, the local market, it will take us further in terms of the food quality, the nutritions within what we eat, and that's where I'm aiming.
Okay. How you mentioned you are in the process of proof of concept. How what is the time frame do you reckon before until production starts?
So we are in a stage now where where you're growing new business, it starts with the idea. So you're doing the ideation and then validation, and then you start step by step. So we are after the two initial steps of the ideation and validation. So it's a validated concept, but now we're in the stage happening really these days to form the right strategic partnerships and to get the initial funds. And I believe in if we are working well and we get the initial funds, in a couple of months we will be ready to start building that.
Okay.
And then it depends. Of course, it depends on the money and the funds, but I assume that between 12 to 18 months from this point we're starting to build the facility or renovate it, really depends where we are, we will see the starting of the production.
Okay.
Yeah, on a large scale.
Okay, so things are happening.
Yes.
Could you? Are there any other areas within different industries that you are? I know you don't have to mention companies or people. Yeah. But in which industries are you looking into in terms of partnerships?
So the basic. Let's go back to the basic idea of FIIC. It's to leverage this connection for win-win situations, and looking at the growth of the local economy in the tech industry. There's a lot of potential there with the connection to Israel. So in the tech industry, I'm in close contact with several entrepreneurs and businesses to add value based on our tech and know-how and talent pool. So tech industry, but also in the aquaculture business. We have no aspiration to teach any Faroese about aquaculture.
No,
but we can add value with technology and with some research and science that there is in Israel that can complement.
Do you think, because we are a maritime country, do you think we have potential to come to Israel to teach about maritime related businesses regarding navigation, optimizing companies, because we are only 50,000 people. We're so small, but we're a huge scale. Do you think is there any hope for Faroese companies to come to Israel?
I'm sure there is. With how I see the prioritization right now of FIIC, this is not the main focus. But when I'm looking at the long run, there are two things that I'm looking at. First is, of course, the aquaculture businesses, because there are initiatives in Israel that are trying to grow, different kind of fish locally on land, some of them at sea, and there's a lot of knowledge and technology here about that we can leverage on. And the second, it's you mentioned navigation. I'm a former I'm an ex naval officer. Being here driving around the fjords, it made me think a lot about how is it to navigate the sea here. And I believe that's a personal, I'm not talking for the Israeli Navy, but personal view, that maybe even the Israeli Navy can gain a little bit about the depth of the knowledge of navigation and seafarer, of people here, because captains here are very professional, much more than I am, as even though I was a submarine commander. We are not dealing with the same obstacles, with the same complexity, and there's a lot to learn there. But and we will see into that as well.
As you mentioned, you've been here a couple of times, and you have regular contact with the Faroe Islands back home. Who are you talking to about what? Who's involved in this?
Let's start once again at the beginning. The beginning is the Faroese embassy in Israel. It started there. To be honest, until a year and a half ago, I didn't know a lot about Faroe Islands. It was almost impossible for me to point out on the map where exactly that is. But since meeting Ache and his team in the embassy, started to learn more and more, and they are very supportive in giving information and open doors for the contacts with people, so I could really understand. I can't try to come as an outsider and think that I understand what's the real dynamics here. So there's a lot to learn, and I learned a lot thanks to them. And other than that, I have now formed a very strong supportive team advisory board for the FIIC. Ben Arabo, the CEO of Framtak, and Torhain from the CMO of Varden are in my advisory board for a couple of months now. We're in close contact. I'm consulting with them quite a lot. And there are other business leaders and government officials that I meet from time to time. And in every meeting like that, I consult, I ask questions, I get some feedback about things that we are about to do, we think how to do, even sometimes things that I've done and they're not in the right way, so I'm able to correct that. And in the Israeli side, I have a very strong advisory board. Both Ronit Koren and Barak Ben Eliezer are business leaders from the highest level in the Israeli industry. and other partners that I work with. I cannot reveal names or business entities, but talented and smart people that I trust.
Okay, so this is a long-term project. This is not short-term. How optimistic are you in developing businesses that make money and that bring our nations closer? How optimistic are you?
That's a good question. I think we should go first back to the question, does it need to make money? An entity like that, maybe it can be a service company that is backed by government. Personally, I don't believe in that. Personally, I believe that if you want to make real impact, you need to make sure that in the profit line there is something there. If not, it's not sustainable. So I wouldn't be here if I wouldn't believe that there is a profit along the way. Not because it needs to be a lot of profit, but it needs to be viable. It needs to be business sustainable, and it needs to make sense for the economy. And if it does, then it will grow organically. So I'm very optimistic, and I can, in the near future, can see several projects that are, we're taking them off the ground. And the first and most important one is the farm. But there are several more that are in the pipeline. So I'm optimistic, and personally, I don't like to waste energy. So if I put a lot of energy here, that's because I believe in it.
We will surely be in contact, and we will follow this cooperation closely. So Amir, thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me, Ólavur. I'm happy to be here.
You're welcome.